Hello everyone, my name is NewFlowerGirl, but you can call me Demi, and today's podcast is about Valentino Rossi. Because the news came out that he would remain in MotoGP to race alongside his brother, or his half-brother, at Ducati. But yeah, we are gonna go on to learn about him. Basically, yesterday I asked my sister, that I'm recording this, I asked my sister, what should I do, what should the next theme of my podcast be? Valentino Rossi or McLaren? And she said Rossi. So yeah. Therefore, podcast about Valentino Rossi. And yeah. Hope you guys are gonna enjoy this podcast. Hope you guys have enjoyed the past podcast. But we are gonna go and dive straight in to this podcast. Leave a like while you're at it, and let's go. Valentino Rossi, born 16th of February 1979, is an Italian professional motorcycle road racer and multiple-time MotoGP world champion, 9 times to be precise. Rossi is widely considered to be one of the greatest motorcycle racers of all time, with 9 Grand Prix World Championships to his name, 7 of which are in the Premier class. Rossi is also the only road racer to have competed in 400 or more Grand Prix, including the years when he was defending his title. He also owns the Sky Racing team VR46, which currently participates in the Moto2 class and historically in the Moto3 class. After graduating to Premier class in 2000, Rossi won the 500cc World Championship and 8 Hours of Suzuka with Honda in 2001. The MotoGP World Championships also with Honda in 2002 and 2003. And continued this streak of back-to-back championships by winning the 2004 and 2005 titles after leaving Honda to join Yamaha. He lost the 2006 title with a crash in the final round at Valencia. In 2007, Rossi ultimately finished 3rd overall before regaining the title in 2008 and retaining it in 2009. After a 2010 season marred by a broken leg and no title defense, Rossi left Yamaha to join Ducati for the 2011 season. Rossi replaced Stone at Ducati and endured two losing seasons with the Italian marque. It was confirmed in 2012 that he would rejoin Yamaha for the 2013 and 2014 seasons. On his return to Yamaha, he finished 4th in the standings in 2013, followed by 2 successive runner-up positions in 2014, 3 successive runner-up positions in 2014, 2015 and 2016. After Rossi won the 2017 Dutch TT, a multiple-year winless streak followed, although he managed to finish 3rd in the 2018 championship. Even during this period, Rossi was contracted to race until the end of 2020 with factory Yamaha, when he would be 41 years old. It was confirmed that Rossi would leave the factory Yamaha team at the end of 2020, and he confirmed on September the 26th, 2020, that he would ride for the Petronas Yamaha racing team for the 2021 season. Now we are going to dive into his early career now. So yeah. There are going to be lots of Italian names, so I'm very sorry to all the Italian people that are watching this video. I might mispronounce all of these names. I am so sorry in advance. Early career. Rossi was born in Urbino, Marche, and he was still a kid when the family moved to Tavullia. Son of Graziano Rossi, a a former motorcycle racer, he began riding at a very young age. To be fair, all those great drivers have. Look at Fabio Quartararo, he started when he was 4. So yeah. Rossi's first racing love was karting, fueled by his mother Stefania's concern for her son's safety. Graziano purchased a kart as substitute for the bike. However, the Rossi family trait of Petrelli wanting to go faster prompted a redesign. Graziano replaced the 60cc motor with a 100cc national kart motor for his then 5-year-old son. Rossi won the regional kart championship in 1999. After this, he took up Minimoto, and before the end of 1991 had won numerous regional races. Rossi continued to race karts and finished 5th at the National Kart Championship at in Parma. Both Valentino and Graziano had started looking at moving into the Italian 100cc series, as well as the corresponding European series, which most likely would have pushed him into the direction of Formula One. However, the high cost of racing cars led to the decision to race Minimoto exclusively. Through 1992 and 1993, Valentino continued to learn the ins and outs of Minimoto racing. In 1993, Rossi was given his first opportunity to ride a 125cc motorcycle by former world champion Paolo Pilleri, who became a team manager after retiring for competition. Later in 1993, with help from his father, Virginio Ferrari, Claudio Castiglio, and Gravina factory racing team manager Claudio Lusuardi, Rossi competed in the 125cc Italian Sport Production Championship on a Gravina Mito. I've butchered that completely. Alongside teammate Vittoriano Guareschi. At his first race meeting for the team, he damaged his motorcycle in a first corner crash, no more than 100 meters from the pit lane. He finished 9th that race weekend. Although his first season in the Italian Sport Production Championship was varied, he achieved a pole position at the season's final race at Misano, which is his home Grand Prix because it's close to Tavulia, where he would ultimately finish on the podium. By his second year, Rossi had been provided with a factory Mito by Lusuardi and won the Italian title. In 1994, Rossi raced in the Italian 125cc championship with a prototype called Sandroni, using a Rotax engine. The bike was built by Guido Mancini, a former rider and mechanic who had worked in the past with Loris Caprirossi. A documentary about Mancini called Mancini the Motorcycle Wizard was released in 2016 by director Jeff Cycle and the relationship between Rossi and a mechanic. In 1995, Rossi switched to Aprilia and won the Italian 125cc World Championship. He was third in the European Championship. Now we are gonna go to 125cc World Championship with Aprilia. and that was 1996 and 1997. So, in the 1996 championship season, the 1996 championship season marks the debut of Rossi in Grand Prix motorcycle racing. He had some success in his first year, scoring consistent points and sometimes finishing just off the podium from his first race at Malaysia to Italy, while retired in both the French and Dutch rounds. He scored more points by finishing 5th at the German race, but suffered another retirement at the British round. Austrian Grand Prix, Rossi scored his first ever podium in the form of the 3rd place after battling with Jorge Martinez. At the following race, which was at the Czech Republic, or at Brno, he scored his first ever pole position on Saturday and his first ever race victory in the 125cc class on an AGV Aprilia RS125R on Sunday after fighting with Jorge Martinez. After his victory, Rossi continued to score points in Imola. I didn't even know that they went there. He retired twice at the Catalan and Rio rounds, but managed to score even more points at the last round in Australia. He finished his first season in 9th place with 111 points. In 1997, in this second year, the 1997 championship season, he moved from the AGV team to the official Nastro Azzurro Aprilia team and went on to dominate the season. He immediately started with pole position with a pole and race win at the 1997 Malaysian Grand Prix, but retired the next race in Japan. In the next 2 races, he bounced back by winning the Spanish and Italian rounds. He finished 2nd in Austria, just 0.004 seconds behind race winner Nobuo Ueda. Then scored a flurry of race victories from France to Britain, including 3 pole positions at the Dutch, Imola and German rounds. He scored the 3rd place at the Czech round and eventually picked up 2 more wins at the Catalan and Indonesian races. He finished 6th place in Australia. He won the 1997 125cc title, winning 11 of the 15 races with 321 points. Throughout the 1996-97 season, he dressed up as Robin Hood and carried a blow-up doll on a few occasions. This fun-loving character gained him as many fans throughout this and the future seasons. And then he went to the 250cc. There he remained with Aprilia. And that was 1998 till 1999. And in 1998, after winning the title in 1997, Rossi moved up to the 250 class the following year. In 1998, the Aprilia RS250 was reaching its pinnacle and had a team of riders in Rossi, Loris Capri-Rossi, and Tetsuya Harada. Rossi's year started off poor, retiring in the first 2 rounds, Japan and Malaysia. He came back from this by scoring 3 consecutive 2nd places in Spain, Italy and France, but retired once more at the Madrid round. He scored his first victory at the 1998 Dutch DT, winning with more than 19 seconds from 2nd place Jürgen Fuchs. He had to retire at the British Grand Prix, but bounced back by scoring a podium place in Germany, finishing 3rd. I should have turned down my volume. 201 points, just 23 points clear of 1998 250cc champion Loris Capri-Rossi. In the second year, 1999, in the 250cc class, Rossi became the sole driver of the official Aprilia Grand Prix racing team and once again dominated the season. Rossi scored his second pole position of the season in France, but suffered a retirement on Sunday. He bounced back with back-to-back wins in Italy and Catalonia. He finished second at the Dutch round, which is great. I mean, he did what he could, narrowly losing out on the race victory with Capri-Rossi. He won 3 more races from Britain to the Czech Republic, picking up yet another pole position at Germany. Rossi finished second in Imola and off the podium in 8th place at the Valentino Community Round. He finished the season strong with 3 more race wins, one in Australia, where he fought hard with Oliver Jack, one in South Africa and one in Rio de Janeiro. After that, he finished in 3rd position at the Argentinian rounds after scoring pole position on Saturday. He won the title in Rio de Janeiro with 1 round left and finished the season in 1st place with 309 points, granting him his first 250cc World Championship title and his 2nd title overall. And then he went on to the MotoGP, or the 500cc World Championship. He started with Honda from 2000 till 2001. After achieving the 250cc World Championship in 1999, Rossi was given a seat with Honda in what was then the highest class in World Championship motorcycle racing, the 500cc. Retired 5-time 500cc World Champion McDougall, who had also had Jeremy Burgess as chief engineer, worked with Rossi as his personal mentor in his first year at Honda. It was also the first time Rossi had raced against Max Biaggi. Rossi started off his first year in the 500cc class with 2 retirements at the first 2 rounds. He crashed out of the South African Grand Prix and Malaysian round. He scored points at the 3rd round in Japan and picked up 2 place finishes in Spain and France. Rossi picked up additional points in Italy and another 3rd place podium finish at the Catalan round. He picked up additional points by finishing 6th position at the 2000 Dutch TT. It took 9 races before Rossi won on the Honda, but his first 500cc victory came after a fierce battle with the Suzuki of Kenny Roberts Jr. and the Aprilia of Jeremy McWilliams. On a track which was affected by ever-changing weather conditions, and despite only qualifying in 7th position on Saturday, the Italian chose the right sides and stormed through the field to battle with Robert Jr. and McWilliams, and win his first race in the 500cc class. After his victory in Donington Park, Rossi went on to score consecutive podium places the next 3 races. Second place finishes in Germany and the Czech Republic, and 1 3rd place finish in Portugal. He retired from the Valentino Community Round after crashing out of the race. Rossi won the Rio round. However, it was Kenny Roberts Jr. who clinched the title after finishing in 6th position, which gave him an unassailable lead in the championship. Basically, that means that, for example, you're in the last rounds, and you basically end up in a position that gives you more points that basically makes makes it so that the person in P2 in a championship needs at least 26 points to beat you, then you've already won the championship, because P1 in the race, it gives you 25 points. And basically in Formula 1, if that happens, if you need 26 points at least, you can still do that, but you need to have the fastest lap to do so in the last race and win. But in MotoGP, if you need more than 26 points to win the championship, and there's one more race to go, then it's done. Then the title is gone. Just how that goes. After his second win, he eventually went on to finish second at the Pacific race and third at the Australian races. He finished second in his rookie season in the 500cc class with 209 points. In 2001, Rossi dominated his second season in the 500cc class, scoring 11 wins and only finishing off the podium 3 times. He started the year off with the victory at Japan after battling with Max Biaggi, and back-to-back poles and race wins at the South African and Spanish rounds. He finished the French Grand Prix in 3rd place, but crashed out of the Italian ground while leading the wet race after taking another pole on Saturday. Rossi bounced back by taking pole position and winning the following race at Catalonia, despite making a poor start which dropped him down to 15th place at the end of the first lap. He scored a 2nd place after narrowly losing out on the race victory with Biaggi at the Dutch round, and once again won another race. This time it's the British Grand Prix. Rossi finished a disappointing 7th in Germany, but took back-to-back wins at the Czech Republic, where gaining a 29-point advantage over Biaggi and Portugal. He scored another disappointing result at the Valencian Community Round when he finished in 11th place, but eventually scored a string of race wins from the Pacific to the Rio rounds. Rossi won his first 500cc title with 325 points, and 3rd title overall, 106 points ahead of Biaggi, who became Rossi's main rival during the season. As of 2020, Rossi is the last satellite rider to clinch the title in the Premier class. During the season, Rossi also teamed up with American rider Colin Edwards for the Suzuka 8 Hours Endurance Race aboard a Honda VTR 1000 SPW, becoming the first Italian rider to win the race. The pair won the race despite Rossi's lack of experience racing superbikes. In 2002, 500cc two-strokes were still allowed, but saw the beginning of the 990cc four-stroke MotoGP class, after which the 500cc machines essentially became obsolete. Now we're going to go on to what was then called MotoGP World Championship. And that is 2002 till 2003, still with Honda. The inaugural year for the MotoGP bikes was 2002, when riders experienced teething problems getting used to the new bikes. Rossi started the year off strong and won the first race in wet conditions in Japan, beating several local riders who were racing as wildcards. He also took the pole position in the first 5 races. Rossi finished 2nd in South Africa, where his teammate Toru Ukawa took his first and only victory in the MotoGP class. He then scored victories from the Spanish to the German rounds, including 2 pole positions at the Dutch and British Grand Prix. He registered his only retirement of the season at the chess round, before scoring back-to-back wins in Portugal and Rio. 2 second-place finishes at the Pacific and Malaysia, and another victory in Austria, and a second-place finish at the final race at the Valencia Community. Rossi went on to win 8 of the first 9 races of the season, eventually claiming 11 victories in total. He clinched his second title at the Rio de Janeiro race, his first in the inaugural class, and 4th title overall with 4 races remaining. 2003. After a strong 2002, Rossi continued to dominate in 2003. Even though he got some competition from emerging Spaniard Sete Gibernau, Rossi scored consistent podiums and took a pole and won the first round in Japan. But the race was marred by the death of Japanese rider Kaito, who crashed at the 130R and hit the barrier at high speed in the ensuing Casio Triangle. Rossi finished second at the South African round before winning again in Spain, despite falling back to 9th on the opening lap. Rossi scored 3 poles at the next 3 races and scored second in France after battling Gibernau, who overtook him on the last lap. He won in Italy and came second again in Catalonia. He took 2 third-place finishes at the Dutch and British rounds. The result of a 10-second penalty for overtaking under yellow flags, gifting victory to Bianchi in the process. And another second place in Germany, once again battling Gibernau, who denied him victory with just 0.060 seconds separating both when they crossed the finish line after a titanic battle between the two. After Germany, Rossi won 3 more rounds and scored 2 more poles. A pole position converted into a victory came at the Czech Republic, where he battled with championship rival Gibernau once more, Rossi overtaking him on the final lap to take victory by just 0.042 seconds. A regular victory came in Portugal, and another pole victory came at the Rio de Janeiro round. He finished second at the Pacific Grand Prix after a mistake made him run off into the gravel and relegated him to 9th, which made it impossible for him to catch race winner Bianchi on the closing laps. Rossi ended the season in style by scoring 3 consecutive poles and race wins at the Malaysian, Etihad, Australian and Valencian round. The Australian Grand Prix at Phillip Island is considered by many observers to be one of Rossi's greatest career moments due to the unique circumstances. Sorry guys, I've been yawning. After being given a 10-second time penalty for overtaking Marco Melandri under yellow flags due to a crash by Ducati rider Troy Bayliss, frontrunner Rossi pulled away from the rest of the field after being informed of the penalty, eventually finishing more than 15 seconds ahead, overcoming the penalty and winning the race. Rossi won the 2003 title in Malaysia, his 3rd in the top class and 5th title overall, with 2 races remaining. He won the final race at the Valencian round with a special livery, this race marking his final win for Honda. Partnering with increased skepticism that the reason for his success was the dominance of the RC211V rather than Rossi. It was inevitable that Honda and Rossi would part. Mid-season rumors pointed towards the possible move to Ducati, which sent the Italian press to a frenzy. The concept of Rossi on the great Italian bike seemed too good to be true. Ducati did indeed try to seduce Rossi into riding the MotoGP bike. I can't pronounce that word. But for numerous reasons, Rossi passed the offer up. Critics say that compared to the other manufacturers, Ducati had a significant way to go before being competitive, even with Rossi at the helm. This proved that to be the truth with Ducati's lackluster performance in the 2004 season, which had actually been worse than the inaugural year in MotoGP in 2003. We can kind of compare that to Ferrari in 2020. In his 2005 autobiography, What If I'd Never Tried It?, Rossi offered another reason for choosing Yamaha over Ducati, saying that the mindset at Ducati Corse was similar to the one he was trying to escape from at Honda. Ultimately, Rossi signed a 2-year contract with rivals Yamaha, reportedly worth in excess of $12 million, a price no other manufacturer, even Honda, was willing to pay. And then he went to Honda, and that basically, he went to Yamaha. And this was from 2004 till 2010. Let's go. Rossi made the switch from Honda to Yamaha and signed a 2-year contract with the team. Many doubted this move and would expect Bianchi, who joined the Honda Pons team a year earlier, as well as Gaberno, to be genuine contenders for the title this year. With the traditional first venue of the season at Suzuka having been taken off the calendar due to safety concerns following a fatal accident of Kaito last year, the 2004 season started at Welcome in South Africa. I do have to point out, it's spelled like we say welcome in the Netherlands. It's really weird. It's like Welkom. So yeah. It's so weird. Rossi took pole on Saturday and won the South African race after a hard-fought battle with Bianchi, becoming the first ever rider to win consecutive races with different manufacturers, having won the final race of the previous season on his Honda bike. Rossi took another pole in Spain, but his 4th place finish on Saturday saw the end of a 23-race podium streak. He once again had to miss out on the podium in France, but responded with 3 consecutive victories in Italy, Catalonia and the Netherlands, a race which he won from pole after a hard-fought battle with Gaberno. Arriving at the Rio de Janeiro race, Rossi crashed out when he lost the front of his M1 and slid into the gravel whilst battling a few people, including Makoto Tamada, Max Bianchi, Nicky Hayden and Alex Barros, forcing him to retire from the race in the process. After the Rio round, Rossi found himself off the podium once more in 4th place at the German Grand Prix, but bounced back by winning the British round from pole. He then went on to finish 2nd in the chess round, 1st in Portugal and 2nd once again in Japan. At the Qatar rounds, controversy arose when Rossi's team was penalised by starting at the back of the grid for grid cleaning. No idea what that means. Gaberno won the race, whilst Rossi crashed out of the race when he was in 6th position. Despite his second DNF of the season did not finish, Rossi scored a pole which he converted into a win in Malaysia, and 2 more regular victories at the Australian and Valencian rounds, battling with the likes of Troy Bayliss, Nicky Hayden, Makoto Tamada and Max Biaggi to take his 9th victory of the year. Rossi finished first with 304 points to Gaberno's 257, with Max Biaggi third with 270 points. He clinched his 3rd MotoGP 4th top class 6th overall championship at the penultimate race of the season at Phillip Island, battling Gaberno with just 0.097 seconds to do so. In 2005, Rossi and the factory Yamaha team proved to be even more dominant than the year before. Rossi immediately began the season by capturing pole and winning the first round in Spain in a controversial manner, colliding with the Gresini Honda of Sete Gaberno and the last lap. He scored a 2nd place finish in Portugal, but went on to take 5 consecutive victories from Chinese to the Dutch round, including 3 pole positions in France, Italy and Assen. At the first United States round since 1994, Rossi struggled and finished in third place, whilst local hero Nicky Hayden won the race. Rossi bounced back by picking up 3 more wins, starting from a pole victory in a rainy Great Britain. We've seen many of those. And 2 regular victories in Germany, holding off Gaberno on the last lap, and the Czech Republic. Rossi's first and only non-podium and retirement of the season came at the Japanese round, where he collided with Marco Melandri during a failed overtake attempt. After Motegi, Rossi scored a podium in the form of a 2nd place in Malaysia and back-to-back wins in Qatar and Australia, beating Nicky Hayden for victory. He finished the season with a 2nd and 3rd place finish at the Turkish and Valencian round. Rossi finished this season again in 1st place with a total of 367 points, 147 points ahead of 2nd place finisher Marco Melandri, captured his 4th MotoGP, 5th top class and 7th overall championship in Sepang with 4 races remaining. He won 11 races, including wins in 3 rain-affected races at Shanghai, Le Mans and Donington. 2006. This is quite a long bit. The 2006 season started off with Rossi once again being the favourite to win the title. However, at the first round in Spain, Rossi was unlucky when Tony Elias misjudged his braking point into a corner and hit the rear wheel of the Italian, who crashed into the gravel as a result. He rejoined the race but only managed to finish 14th. In the next race in Qatar, he scored his first win of the season but finished just off the podium in the next round in Turkey. Going into the 3rd round in China, disaster would strike him again as he was forced to retire after he moved up from 13th to 5th and was battling with Colin Edwards and John Hopkins for 3rd positions. A chunk of rubber from his front tire had been thrown at his front fender, knocking it off the motorcycle. Things didn't improve for him at the next round in France. He bruised the back of Honda rider Danny Pedrosa, causing him to run wide and hit Randy the Punette, who then fell off his Kawasaki after striking Sete Gaberno. After climbing his way back up to 2nd, Rossi overtook Hopkins on the 5th lap and started to pull a gap from Rossi after Hopkins lost the front of his Suzuki at an off-camber right-hander on lap 10 and retired. He was leading comfortably in first place with a gap over 3 seconds until his Yamaha had a mechanical problem on lap 21, forcing Rossi to retire for the second consecutive race. Rossi would leave Le Mans being 8th in the standings with a 43-point deficit to Nicky Hayden. After these 2 disappointing races, Rossi bounced back by scoring 2 wins, a regular victory in Italy and a pole victory in Catalonia. At the Dutch round, he only finished 8th after he fractured his hand and ankle when he fell on Thursday. The race was won by Nicky Hayden, who battled with Yamaha teammate Colin Edwards on the last lap. Edwards tried to launch past Hayden but ran wide onto the gravel and eventually fell at the last corner. With a disappointing result at Assen, Rossi took second place in Great Britain and another win in Germany, fighting tooth and nail with the 3 Hondas of Marco Melandri, Nicky Hayden and Dani Pedrosa. However, he retired once more in the United States round due to a mechanical problem at the last few laps, whilst local hero Nicky Hayden won the event for a second consecutive time. This extended Hayden's lead over Rossi with 34 points, from 17 to 51, dropping Rossi to 4th in the championship. Going into round 12 in Czech Republic, Rossi picked up a pole and a second place, and then won the next round in Malaysia. Hayden held the point lead throughout most of the season, but by now Rossi was slowly working his way up to the points ladder. A third place in Australia and a further second position in Japan saw the points lead of Hayden reduced from 41 at Laguna Seca to 12 in Motegi, with Rossi moving from 4th to 2nd in the championship standings. Going into the penultimate round of the season in Portugal, Rossi took pole position on Saturday. On Saturday, Nicky Hayden was taken out by his teammate Dani Pedrosa on lap 5, causing both riders to retire. On the last lap, Tony Elias, who was in 3rd place, overtook both Kenny Roberts and Rossi to take the lead. Rossi eventually got back up in front, but Elias shot past him in the final corner and won the race, with a minuscule 0.002 second advantage over Rossi. This led Rossi taking the point lead with 8 points going into the last round of the year. At the final race of the season at Valencia, Rossi needed to finish in 2nd place or higher to win the title. He took the second consecutive pole position on Saturday, whilst Nicky Hayden could only qualify 5th. However, Rossi got a poor start on Sunday when the red lights went off, dropping him back to 7th place. On lap 5, he made a mistake, lost the front wheel of his M1 and slid out of contention. He managed to get going again, but it would be to no avail. Rossi managed to finish in 11th, collecting 247 points as a result, and lost the title to Nicky Hayden by 5 points. The race was won by wildcard rider Troy Bayliss, who replaced the injured Sete Guberno. After the race, Rossi called his fall a disaster, but congratulated Nicky on his one title as well. Now that is really good. So yeah. Now we're going to carry on. In 2007, after Rossi lost the title in 2006, he nonetheless tried again in 2007, as he was still one of the favourites to win the championship. The bike power was reduced from 990cc to 800cc for this season, and over the winter Yamaha worked on the new bike fitting these specifications for both Rossi and Colin Edwards. In the season opener in Qatar, Rossi took his first pole position of the year on Saturday, but came second to Casey Stoner on the Ducati on Sunday, who had made the switch from the Honda team to the factory Ducati team. Rossi then won the second race in Spain to bounce back. In Turkey, Rossi clinched another pole position on Saturday, but eventually finished way down in 10th position after running wide on the fast turn 11 when he pushed too hard to break away on the opening lap. Rossi fought his way back to second, overtaking Loris Capri-Rossi on lap 9, but lost positions quickly after the Michelin tyre started to fade and he suffered from a mysterious lack of speed, which allowed Tony Elias Capri-Rossi, John Hopkins, Marco Melandri and Alex Barros to overtake him within 3 laps. Stoner led every lap, won the race and gained a 10-point lead over Rossi in the process. Rossi once again finding himself on the back foot in the championship, responded in China by setting another pole position on Saturday and finishing in second place after battling hard with Stoner. The Australian, who made good use of the straight line speed of the Ducati on the strong straight, blasted past Rossi every time, finishing in second every time he got overtaken early on the circuit. At the French round, Chris Vermeulen on the Suzuki won a rain-affected race. Rossi initially started well and even overtook Stoner on the early part of the race to make a break, but then the rain intensified. Rossi and his YZR M1 struggled and were overtaken by Stoner, Randy Depunet, Sylvain Guintoli, and later also Nicky Hayden, Danny Pedrosa and Alex Hoffman. Rossi eventually finished 6th while Stoner crossed the line in 3rd, extending his championship lead by 21 points. In Italy, he won his first race of the season, and at round 7 in Catalonia, Rossi took his 4th and final pole position of the season. After a hard-fought battle with Stoner, Rossi finished 2nd by just 0.096 seconds and lost out again. In Great Britain, Rossi finished just outside the podium in 4th, but bounced back at the Dutch round in great fashion by winning the race from 11th on the grid. He overtook many riders and eventually did the same to Stoner with 4 laps to go, building a small gap he never gave away when crossing the line. After Rossi's great win in Assen, bad luck struck him when he crashed on lap 5 at the German round and was forced to retire. He made a poor start, dropping him from 6th to 9th on lap 1, but was quick to regain 2 positions before struggling to pass Randy Depunet for 6th position. Rossi tried to squeeze his bike next to the Kawasaki of Depunet. He lost the front of his M1 at low speed through a long right-hander and slid into the gravel. Then Rossi picked up more points by finishing 4th and 7th place at the United States and Czech Republic. But by then, Stoner had built up a 60-point gap over Rossi when they left round 12. Rossi once again retired at the new San Marino venue, while Stoner took his 8th win of the season, extending his championship lead from 60 to 85 points. At the next round in Portugal, Rossi would win his final race of the season after a close fight with the Honda of Danny Pedrosa. Rossi worked his way up from 5th to 3rd on the opening lap, overtaking Stoner on lap 9, and Pedrosa did the same 2 laps earlier. He then overtook Pedrosa on lap 10, and a fight commenced where Pedrosa re-overtook Rossi on lap 16. Narrowly ahead, only taking the first spot back from the Spaniard with 4 laps after he ran wide. Rossi made a similar error and Pedrosa retook the lead just half a lap later. Pedrosa was still narrowly ahead, but Rossi was better on the brakes and plunged down the inside, did a dive bomb basically, of the first corner in turn 1. The move failed and he ran wide, but carried enough momentum to try the same move again a few corners later, this time succeeding. Rossi crossed the line 0.175 seconds ahead of Pedrosa to win his 4th race of the season. At the Japanese round, Rossi suffered from braking problems on his second bike after all riders were forced to swap bikes due to the track drying, finishing in 13th position. This was enough for Casey Stoner to become the 2007 World Champion after he finished the race in 6th position and gave him an unassailable lead in the championship. Rossi went on to take one last podium in Australia, finishing in 3rd place. Then picked up points in 5th position at the Malaysian round. At the last race of the season, the Valencian round, Rossi started way back in 17th due to a fracture of 3 bones in his right hand after he fell during qualifying. He took 16th position. He took 16th on lap 7 and passed Shinya Nakano for 15th and thus the final point, but was forced to retire on lap 18 after his YZR M1 suffered a technical problem, marking his 3rd DNF of the season. The race was won by Dani Pedrosa, with Casey Stoner about 5 seconds behind in 2nd place. Stoner dominated the season, winning 10 races to take his first title, 125 points clear of 2nd place Dani Pedrosa. Rossi, on the other hand, finished in 3rd place with 241 points, 6 less than in 2006. This was Rossi's lowest championship position since his first season in 1996 in 225 and a 125 cc. Pedrosa's win at the last race at Valencia combined with Rossi's retirement meant that he beat Rossi by a single point. 2008. After 2 frustrating seasons where Rossi and Jamal lost their title for 2 consecutive seasons to Nicky Hayden's Honda and Casey Stoner's Ducati, critics started to doubt he was capable of ever winning another title. Few people thought some said he should retire, whilst others assumed that Casey Stoner would win his 2nd title, or that Dani Pedrosa would become a genuine title contender after his strong performances in 2006 and 2007. This was also the year he switched from Michelin to Bridgestone tyres, which Rossi claimed was needed to boost his motivation. New teammate Jorge Lorenzo did not opt for the change. Rossi started the year with a 5th place in Qatar while Stoner won the race, prompting some already suggest that it would be more of the same like last year. However, Rossi fought back in Spain by finishing 2nd, while Stoner could only manage 11th place. Rossi finished 3rd at the Portuguese round, with his teammate Jorge Lorenzo winning after a late charge from Dani Pedrosa was not enough to retake the lead. After the good performances in Spain and Portugal, Rossi scored 3 consecutive victories, 2 regular victories at China and France, and a pole victory at the Italian round. 2 more second place finishes followed, 1 in Catalonia and 1 in Great Britain. Approaching round 9 of the season, the Dutch Grand Prix was not a success for Rossi. He came to Assen with an 11-point lead over runner-up Pedrosa, but made a slow start from 3rd on the grid, only to lose the back of his M1 machine on the entry of a tight left-hand hairpin. His rear wheel sliding around, collecting Randy Piquet's Pinez Honda, taking him out in the process. Rossi remounted the bike, got going again, but could only finish 11th, handing the lead of the championship to Pedrosa by 4 points. After the disappointing results in Essen, Rossi retook the lead of the title hunt in a rain-affected German round after Pedrosa crashed out of the wet track, and Rossi came second. The race was won by Casey Stoner. Rossi then took a multitude of race wins from the United States, where Rossi took the win after a hard battle and a pass down to the corkscrew corner of Stoner, who crashed a few laps later but continued and took second place, to Japan, including a pole victory at the rain-shortened race in Indianapolis. His wins in both Laguna Seca and Indianapolis also meant that Rossi had won at every circuit on the calendar at the time, and his win at Motegi was his first MotoGP victory at the track, becoming the first Yamaha rider to win at the Honda-owned circuits. Interesting. Going into round 15 of the championship, Rossi needed to finish 3rd or higher to win the title at Motegi. In the race he started off poor, dropping from 4th to 5th on the grid, but quickly made up ground by overtaking Hoy Lorenzo and Nicky Hayden on lap 2 before he hunted down his title rivals. When Stoner made the pass on Pedrosa on lap 6, Rossi did the same and went after Stoner until he made a race-winning move on lap 14, under braking. Rossi then pulled away from the Ducati rider to cross the line in 1st position and clinch his 5th MotoGP, 6th top class and 8th overall championship in Japan with 3 races remaining. On the podium, he wore a shirt with the text, I'm going to try to say this, Scusate il ritardo, which is Italian for sorry for the delay, in facing his lack of titles in the last 2 years. I think I did well with the Italian. After Rossi wrapped up the title in Motegi with an unassailable lead of 92 points, he scored 3 more podiums, a 2nd place finish behind home hero Stoner in Australia, another win in Malaysia, and a 3rd place at the Valencian round. He finished the season with 373 points. Now this is basically all so far. Like now we're in 2009. Basically there in 2009 he won the title again, and that was his 9th title. He's now 9-time world champion. But yeah, after 2010 he made the move to Ducati, which many people thought that it was the dream team. It was not, because he didn't finish. Well, he finished the race, but he didn't finish like on the podium. Didn't finish anywhere near it. There's a fun fact which I would like to tell you guys. In Tafulia, which is basically the place where Rossi lives, there's a church or a bell tower, and every time when Rossi won, someone would ring the bell for a couple of minutes. And in 2011, 2012, it didn't happen. Yeah, it just didn't happen at that point. One thing that happened in 2011, which was quite sad. First I'll take some of my drink. Something that happened in Malaysia 2011 was this. Rossi qualified in 9th but was involved in a collision with Marco Simoncelli and Colin Edwards on the second lap of the race. Simoncelli fell while running 4th, landing in the path of Edwards and Rossi, who both hit his Honda. Simoncelli's helmet came off in the accident. The blow results in the Italian suffering critical injuries, where he later died in hospital. And Simoncelli and Rossi were great friends. So that hit hard. And in 2012 he was still with Ducati. But then he decided, no, I cannot do this anymore. I'm going to go back to Yamaha. And he did so. He went back there. Won more races, of course, at the Dutch Grand Prix. In 2017, he crashed at Misano. And he returned in Aragon. Basically, he crashed out of the race. He had to miss his home race. But the next race, he was back on the bike. And basically, Dutch rider Michael van der Mark was promised to race in place of Rossi. But because Rossi was back at Aragon, they said, well, then you can race at the final round. Michael van der Mark did finish that race, but outside of the points. He finished the race in last. But he did well. He did well. So yeah. And then 2018, that Dutch race, man. That race was exciting. If you have not watched that race, go and look it up. Oh my gosh. But yeah. 2019 was bit more worse. Basically, 2018 he didn't want anything. 2019 didn't want a thing. 2020 everyone's like, yeah, this is not going well. And then in 2021 he decided to go to Petronas Shimano. He swapped places with Fabio Quartararo. And Rossi would do that. But basically I'm cutting this place off just now because it's getting a long podcast and there's like a lot of things to say. But yeah, he had lots of rivals. Loris Capri-Rossi, Max Biaggi, Cedric Gabono, Casey Stoner, Jorge Lorenzo, Marc Marquez, and he had a few nicknames. And I'm going to name a few of them. At the beginning he was known as Rossi Fumi. Some more, can I find them? Valentinic. Super Valentino. And then the Doctor, which he is now. This part is quite interesting. Other motorsport activities. Rossi tested for Ferrari, the Ferrari Formula 1 car in 2006 on January the 31st. February the 1st and February the 2nd at Valencia. It saw Rossi spin out on a damp track into the gravel trap and ESA. On the second day, he posted the 9th fastest time of 15 drivers, approximately 1 second behind Michael Schumacher. Interesting. Yeah, he did a lot of things other than MotoGP. He does the Monza Rally Show, which is awesome. I've not seen it, but well, I mean, I've kind of seen it. I played it because Valentino Rossi has his own PlayStation game. Well, it's not his own game. It's basically Valentino Rossi the game. It's for PlayStation. It's really fun. Like, you actually get to play as... Well, you basically get to play with... you get... It's basically like Formula 1 career modes. You know? And you basically get to be one of the people who race in the VR46 Academy. And I have not played it in a while. But it is quite easy. I believe even my sister can do it, but it's quite hard. And not only can you do that mode I play most of the time. You can also do like solo races and stuff. And split screen is really fun. It's for PlayStation 4. And yeah, it's a game from 2016. It's really fun. If you have a PlayStation 4 and you know how to get along with the pad, get that game. It's so fun. And it's amazing. Like, not only do you get to do the races, you also get to do like the Monza Rally Show. You get to go onto the banking of Monza. You get to go onto like his actual range. It's amazing. Yeah. Also, this is something that was recent. In December 2019, Rossi got the chance to swap rides with six-time Formula 1 world champion Lewis Hamilton at Circuit Ricciardo Tormo, Valencia, as part of a sponsor event. He completed several laps in a 2017 Mercedes-AMG F1 W08 EQ Power Plus, while Hamilton rode a Yamaha YZR M1, identical to the one Rossi rode in the 2019 MotoGP season. Press were locked out of the event, so lap times weren't made public. There is an actual video of it. If I can find it again, I will put it in the description down below. In January 2021, he and his co-driver Luca Marini and Alessio Salucci competed in the Bahrain 12-hour behind the wheel of a Ferrari 488 GT3 ran by Kessel Racing, which was held at the Bahrain International Circuit, and won the third podium. That is amazing. Like, if you don't know who Luca Marini is, if this video gets 5 likes, because I don't have many people watching, if this video gets 5 likes, I will make a podcast about Luca Marini, who is Rossi's half-brother. But yeah, Rossi is the owner of the junior class team Sky Racing by VR46, which debuted in the MotoGP Moto3 category of Grand Prix motorcycle racing in 2004 and 2014. The riders Romano Venati and Francesco Bagnaia, with his former Cavita, completely wrong, teammates Vittoriano Guareschi as team manager. In 2015, Andrea Minio replaced Vanaya, and Guareschi was replaced by Alessio Uccio Salucci and Carlo Alberto Tabaldi. The team also raced in Moto2. In 2021, it was announced that Rossi's team would compete in MotoGP class, basically taking over Realia Vintia team. But yeah, that's all we need to know about Rossi, the video game, which I talked about. It is not only PlayStation 4, it is also Microsoft Windows and Xbox One. It's basically released in November. It was announced to be released in November 2015. Milestone SRL announced it, and it's called Valentino Rossi the Game. It is super fun. Please, if you can find it, buy it. It is so fun and so easy. Just do it, man. I love that game. I hope you guys will love it as well. I love that game so much. But yeah, for the rest, we have some stats and stuff, which aren't that super interesting. Yeah. But that's it for this podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry it's a long one, but it will have to do, because Rossi is 9-time world champion, and he will achieve great things when he continues with motorsport and stuff. I think he will continue with Suzuka 8 hours, like with endurance. He would definitely continue with his school, like 100%. I mean, the riders are doing good. They're actually at the top. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. If you did, then please leave a big fat thumbs up. Also, if you want me to do a podcast about Valentino's half brother Luca Marini, then please hit the like button. Also subscribe, because YouTube sometimes has a tendency to unsubscribe people. So if you wouldn't mind going down to see if the button is grey. If it is, then you're good. If it's red, then please hit it. And also comment down below if you have any suggestions. I will write them down in my phone for future ideas. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye guys!